Christian alliance, about which we've been given a warning. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse number 49, you've heard me repeating it so many times. So beware of the false sunrise. It's a sign of the last day, the ascendancy of the West built on falsehood. Secondly, the sunrise is associated with day, not with night. And Allah says in the Quran that in the same way that He created the night and the day, so too did He create the male and the female. The sun rising from the west will represent, therefore, a reversal of the relationship between the day and the night. In other words, the night attempting to become day, and the day attempting to become night. That is already happening in the world today, with women assuming the functional role of men. The hadith is that women will dress like men. You see them in a jacket, in trousers, sometimes a tie. The blue jeans of the woman and the man hardly differs. She is dressing like a man, one of the reasons being she wants to assume the functional role of the man. As she dresses as a man to assume the functional role of a man, number one, she loses femininity. Number two, she loses fertility. And if you don't mind my mentioning, because it's mentioned in the context of knowledge, she also loses sexuality. The man would dress like a woman, said the Prophet ﷺ. And if a man dresses like a woman, a beard will come in the way. Oh yes. So that helps us to explain why the Western world has taken off the beard, so that this prophecy can be fulfilled about men dressing like women. And so the sun rising from the west has this implication as well. The west, the ascendancy of the west, and the false dawn, false sunrise, falsehood. And it brings in its wake an upside down world, which is most dramatically recognized in the upside down relationship between the male and the female, the sun, the day and the night. The dukhan is smoke. And there is a whole surah of the Quran, titled Surah Al-Dukhan. And the Prophet ﷺ gave us a hint by which we can understand Dukhan. That Dajjal will control the climate. Yeah. That he will cause the rain to fall and cause the rain not to fall, bringing drought to people. So there is something going to be taking place in terms of atmospheric pollution. The atmospheric pollution can come from many different sources, but one of those sources is Dajjal's donkey. Dajjal's donkey causes a lot of atmospheric pollution. I think the evidence is already in. That significant climatic change is already taking place in the world. The evidence is already in. And that significant climatic change is taking place in the world because of atmospheric pollution. I think the evidence is already in. So this will be my interpretation of Dukhan. Again, it's not binding on anyone. And again, only Allah does not make this States. Someone sent me a dream. I prefer to deal with dreams in private rather than public. Yeah. Any other questions? If you want to, you can send me an email. At the back of the hall you'll find my books. The correct email address you'll find in my new books. In Surah Al-Kahf in the modern age you'll find it there. In Signs of the Last Day in the modern age you'll find my email address there. In Surah Al-Kahf text translation and modern commentary you'll find my email address there. And also in the booklet, The Gold, Dinar and Silver, Dirham, Islam and the Future of Money, you'll find my email address there. Please send me your dream in the privacy of an email. Yes?
مولانا School of Thought of Rashid Reza and his tafsir and Muhammad Abdul, he speaks about وَأَرْسَلَ عَلَيْهِمْ طَيْرًا أَبَابِيلَ. So according to rational interpretation they refer to leprosy. What does Maulana say about this?
I do not have any knowledge about that one, and I will certainly not dismiss the opinion of a man as learned as Sheikh Rashid Reza and Sheikh Muhammad Abdul. Although we have a problem with Sheikh Muhammad Abdul and his fatwa on banking, on riba. Any other questions? Yes. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Remember, I can't hear properly, so. Yes, please, yeah.
My question is...
The sisters want to hear.
Eh?
The sisters want to hear. Okay, all right.
I'm not used to that. First thing, I'd like to introduce myself.
Yeah.
I spoke to you in 2001 on the radio 76.
All right.
My surname is Bismillah.
Okay.
My question is, and you say vision or something. The sun rises from the west, right? In the end of the world, when the end comes. Don't you think that the sun has risen already in 1945, the atom bomb? Isn't that one of the signs that the whole world is frightened for that?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
The question from our elder brother, Bismillah is his name, is that perhaps the sun has already risen from the west, and his interpretation of the sun rising from the west is the atomic explosions of 1945. The atomic explosions of 1945, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, has come from the Western world. The use of nuclear weapons by the Western world is not by accident. By using nuclear weapons on two cities, they not only brought the war to an end quickly, but they established their dominance and their superiority over the rest of the world in a very dramatic way, which leads us to the conclusion that if Israel is to take over from the United States as the next ruling state in the world, Israel will not only have to wage a big war, we are expecting, but that Israel will also have to use weapons of mass destruction, like nuclear weapons. And so the use of atomic weapons was meant to cause the false sunrise to be accepted as a true sunrise. And that has happened in the minds of many, many people. Who wants to study the Quran anymore? I want to send my son to Harvard. I want to send my son to Yale. My son must get an American university